All right, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joshua Weisel here in the Weather 225 Storm Studios with a midday look at your forecast for Northwest Arkansas, River Valley, Southwest Missouri, and of course, Northeast Oklahoma. Let's get a look at your forecast for this afternoon. Forecast, not a whole lot of changes today. We do have some rain chances to let you know about. We'll show you future scan radar, but keep in mind, as I've been mentioning, future scan for whatever reason, this part of the country, for parts of eastern Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas, and the River Valley, it doesn't tend to have a great handle on things. So we'll walk you through all those details coming up this afternoon. We're still looking to be into the upper 70s, even some lower, maybe closer to mid 80s. So warmer spots are going to be further to the west. And this is near Stillwater, Tulsa, Barnsdall, and those locations further out to the west. For northwest Arkansas, River Valley, parts of southwest Missouri, a little bit cooler. And the reason for that is we've already seen overcast conditions. We mentioned that this morning that we were going to see some overcast skies. The other thing, too, we've already seen some showers, even some localized rumbles of thunder or two in parts of the area as we head into the noon hour. So that'll continue throughout the afternoon. We've already seen it for parts of late morning into early afternoon. And we still got more rain chances on the way. We'll walk you through that here in just a second. Overnight tonight, kind of the same old for parts of southwest Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, lower to upper 60s, really just depending on the location you're watching from. So overnight, a little bit more mild to, depending on where, a little bit warmer with that humidity. So maybe not the most pleasant start to the day, but at least it's going to be a little bit cooler with that humidity for some of those locations, especially southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas, and eastern Oklahoma. Let's take a look at what we got. No highlighted severe weather risk for today. Our algorithm's not picking up on a whole lot, but, take it from me. There's not going to be an organized chance for severe weather today. We're not expecting widespread storms. And if storms do reach briefly strong to severe limits, they're not going to be the long-lived supercells, anything like that. But there could be a couple of storms that, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe they pulsed a little bit and led to maybe a couple handfuls of some smaller hail, maybe one or two of those is quarter-sized. And then maybe some winds anywhere, I'd say, between about 40 to 55 miles an hour or so. So again, we're not expecting anything widespread today, but there could be a couple pop-ups. And some of those pop-ups, they may be briefly strong to maybe, entry-level severe criteria, but we're not expecting widespread storms that could be severe today. Rain chances today, kind of hit or miss. And even though you're not in necessarily this algorithm's highlight today, take it with a grain of salt. Areas to the west and our western counties all the way into southwest Missouri, I think there's a pretty fair and equal opportunity for a couple showers and storms, not only this afternoon, but tonight. So the algorithm, keep in mind, it's not perfect. And like I said, models don't do a great job with this part of the country. This is doing a little bit better of an output, and this is from the Weather Prediction Center. This is their day one rainfall total outlook. And just letting you know, notice there is a pretty notable outlook here for parts of the area. And this is what I was talking about. Not everyone's going to see this activity, but the activity that does develop today, it may not move very quickly. And when it doesn't move very quickly, you're going to lead to some areas that may see some localized rainfall totals just today, I'd say between 1 to 4 inches. Now, not everyone's going to see 4 inches of rain today, but when you don't have fast-moving storms, I'd say storm movement today will be around 20 to 15 to 20 miles an hour or less with some of this activity. When it doesn't move very quickly, sometimes it could be stationary. You could get amounts of as high as 4 inches of rainfall. Not everyone's going to see this. If you live near Paris and Mount Ida and you're looking at this going, well, does that guarantee it for our neck of the woods? It doesn't. It's just an outlook for today. So again, maybe 1 or 2 storms could produce some pretty heavy rainfall today. Here's a look at future scan radar for this afternoon. Now notice this is around 3 o'clock and it's doing an okay job today. It's not perfect, but during the evening commute, there could be some scattered showers and thunderstorms both to the north and to the south, mostly northwest Arkansas, River Valley, southwest Missouri. And then coming up later tonight around 7 o'clock is showing some activity. Now keep in mind, if you're further to the west, algorithm is just picking up on what future scan is showing. So it's not showing a whole lot of activity, but as we showed you this morning, that output had a lot more activity further to the west. And this is why it's so tricky. It's not perfect. And the models, they tend to flip-flop dramatically. And just in my experience over the last almost 5 years across this portion of the coverage area, when you get to the day of forecast, sometimes it shows a lot more activity and then it gets rid of all of it. And then the very next outlook, output, run, whatever you want to call it, it puts it all back in and then it takes it back out. And it's just a big back and forth. So with that being said, future scan, I love showing it so that you can see a depiction of what we could see in the afternoon. But at the same time, I'm not a big fan of a lot of these models most days because they tend to leave out one or two ingredients. They tend to overlook some energy that swings in for whatever reason in this part of the country. It's not that great on handling, especially because we have several different microclimates. And that just means, different geographic types and stuff like that, that also account for how you get return in certain conditions and all of that. I don't want to bore you with all the exact terminology, nerdy information, and all of that, but I just want to let you know it doesn't do a great job in this part of the country. So, with that being said, take it with a grain of salt. Pretty fair and equal opportunity for some showers and storms throughout the day today, maybe even to parts of tonight. So, if you're in the county coverage area that we cover in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, all of that really doesn't matter where. If you're going to be outside today, make sure you have ways to receive lightning alerts at minimum. And the reason for that is I don't want you being outside and then some lightning occurs and then you're caught off guard. It's not a guarantee there's going to be disruptive weather today, but it's better just to have those just in case. We're not talking organized severe weather or severe weather in general today. But as I mentioned, you may get one or two storms that briefly they pulse up to some stronger levels and then they don't really do anything. So it's just going to be one of those afternoons. We'll just have to watch and see. I don't want you to cancel those plans, and I don't want you to worry about it. We're not talking big time severe weather, organized severe weather, anything like that. If you've been watching both this coverage area and the Dallas coverage area, we know we have a lot of people who are from North Texas, so they tune into both because they're interested. We had a lot of this activity over the last couple of days in DFW. You get afternoon pop-ups, and then they produce maybe some hail, some gusty winds, briefly warned, and then they rain themselves out because they really weren't moving. That's kind of what we're talking about for today. But you could only get, maybe one or two of those. Nothing, widespread. Not everyone's going to see storms today. Not everyone's going to see that activity either. River Valley, notice it's pretty consistent with those temperatures going forward. Rain chances at least into the early portion of the weekend. Tulsa, northeast Oklahoma, kind of the same thing, except a little bit less in terms of those rain chances once we get into later Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So there's some good news there. Looking ahead, outside of the rain that we have for today and everything along those lines, we're headed into a ridging pattern. And what that means is the jet stream is going to get pulled back up to the north, and that means that our rain chances, they're going to get cut off by the early portion of June if this outlook continues in the way that it's headed. So we may start to see these temperatures start to climb a lot warmer and, dramatically reduced rain chances to maybe no rain chances at all. Not quite fully into the 7-day forecast just yet. Keeping an eye on the long range. We'll let you know if anything changes. And of course, we will keep you, in tune to the forecast and everything along those lines. So, moral of the story, between all of our coverage areas that we have, just stay tuned. We got rain chances pretty much into early weekend. And then as we head into the weekend, early next week, as we get closer to early June, I think we're going to start to see maybe a little bit of a big pattern change. Less in terms of storms and more into a summer-like pattern. There's some indications beyond that, maybe rain returns, but, the further out you get with the forecast, the less certainty there is. So don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's Look at Your Midday Forecast. Have a good one. You can advertise with us this storm season and throughout the year. Contact us today for availability and pricing. Weather 225 since 2015. If you like our media and forecast, be sure to support us today on Patreon.